So I'm sure it's just hopefully my gas cap.
Hopefully so.
Yep. Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Yeah, GMs are known. That's the S10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing. Yeah.
I checked. I checked the sticker, and I'm like, oh, I'm up this month, and then bam, light came on.
I'm
like, come on.
It's worse. You could have been driving to the station, so at least.
Yeah. I've had that happen. Don't worry. I've done that.
I know. All right, guys.
Sure.
All right, Christian. Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah,
man. Right. Thanks for the call.
All right,
you got it.
Bye. And
some interesting stuff, man.
Follow Christian at Christian_LI Racing because we're going to do it as soon as we get off. We're going to do it. We are also, Joe, scheduled for another break, so we're going to have to do that. And here we go with our history of taking it in the extremities, working on your own cars. We'll visit another song here on Motormouth Radio, and we'll be back henceforth on 90.3 WHPC.
This program is brought to you by the Paramount in Huntington, who presents the Music of Cream 50th Anniversary World Tour on Wednesday, October 17th at 8 p.m. 50 years since their debut album, the bloodlines of that trilogy come together to pay tribute to Cream's 4 albums. Kofi Baker, son of Ginger, and Malcolm Bruce, son of Jack, unite with Will Johns, nephew of Eric, and son of Zeppelin Stone's Hendrix engineer Andy, to play the music that defined a generation. The Paramount is located at 370 New York Avenue in Huntington. More information can be found by visiting ParamountNY.com.
This show is brought to you by the NYCB Theater at Westbury, who presents Dick Fox's Holiday Doo-Wop Extravaganza, starring Jay and the Americans, Charlie Thomas's Drifters, Shirley Alston Reeves, the original lead singer of the Shirelles, the Original Coasters, the Classics, the Knockouts, and Johnny Farina of Santo and Johnny, on Sunday, December 9th at 3 p.m.
More information is available online at venue.thetheateratwestbury.com.
I'll settle for a backdoor love affair.
Oh, yeah, you may be having a backdoor love affair, maybe just a back rear caliper love affair with your car like I had. And that's what happens. I think the takeaway from that is that when that does happen, you seek other advice. Go find a guy who can help you out. It used to be your neighbor who could. Everybody used to have to work on cars in the neighborhood. Not so much anymore, but
yeah, that's the thing. I even back in like the 90s, I used to get some guys that were retired mechanics or somebody's uncle or something like that. Yeah, I used to work on cars. I was like, 1957. I'm like, hey, go fix a packet, all right?
But you know what else you used to get, Joe? You used to get the guy, when we were kids, the guy who was maybe the machinist or he worked at Grumman.
Yes.
And guys had that intrinsic knowledge.
Yes, about how mechanical stuff works.
I mean, they're working on rockets during the day, so yeah, I could adjust a carburetor.
Sure, yeah, they get a basic idea. I mean, especially guys with machinist backgrounds. I mean, they're incredible. I could think of one guy off the top of my head, Johnny, that have machinist training that are really good like that. You know,
yeah.
But it's critical thinking. It's critical thinking and being able to, depending on what you're working on, you have to have the tools. It's just like you can't fix everything with like a fishing box full of, what used to be Craftsman, now it's Harbor Freight. With like a flat blade, a Phillips head, and a couple of sockets that may or may not be even metric.
Well, there you go. That's the problem I had yesterday in my own second tool collection at the shop. I do have a buttload of the short Allen drivers, metric and American.
Right.
And I had so many, in fact, that I took them all home over the summer, and I put the labels on, the socket labels.
Right. Yeah, I remember those things
from that we had on we debuted on this show.
Right.
What was the guy's name? Let me see. It was only a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, steellabels.com.
Steellabels.com, correct.
Yes. So those are indeed nice.
I took them all home, and I went through all of them, and somehow, inadvertently, I forgot to bring a set of short metrics back to the shop.
Oops.
So I only had the long, like the, I guess, 4-inch ball end drivers. So I didn't even have the right tool, and I had to improvise. I was almost going to cut the thing off, and I was thinking about that, but the ball end drivers are kind of nice to have. The long ones are nice.
Yeah, you don't want to be sometimes bending a wrench. I mean, we had years ago we had that show with we had Master Yang on. We had that whole thing about wrench bending.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I mean that's a thing. That definitely could happen.
Actually, Mike called me yesterday. Who's at the other shop? He says, "Hey, do you still have your O2 sensor stuff at the shop in Oceanside? I may need to borrow it." And I said, "Yeah, I got the O2 socket that has the big window cut out of the side. I have the other one that looks like the closed end of a wrench with a 3/8 tab for an extension welded onto it, and I have the bent 7/8 wrench." I said, "They're all in the bottom drawer of the toolbox. Take them when you need them."
Yeah.
So yeah, we have those. We have those specialty tools.
Yeah, because especially if you do a lot, a certain kind of car a lot. For whatever reason. I mean, dealer mechanics or guys that specialize in a certain make, they may have certain wrenches, and this isn't just like, diagnostic tools. I mean, there's certain sockets. I remember my good friend Franz down in Florida. He was doing something on a Benz, and it was this weird 5-pointed star, like a Torx, but to get where he had to get, Mercedes had one that was a specific length that was long enough to go into whatever recess it was, but not too long so it wouldn't hit the firewall.
Right.
And that was like a $98 friggin' socket, which you were not going to use on anything else. But if you did that particular motor, you'd have it out like at least twice a week.
That's why having a guy in a tool truck is good, because he can supply that for you. Yes. Well, we talked about this a lot, and even back last year when I did that all that work on that guy's '68 Camaro.
Right.
One of the things I had to do was take the header out to get the steering box out.
Yes.
And I was stymied at the shop. My hands were tied, and I said, "You know what? I'll show you tomorrow."
At least it wasn't buckwheated.
That's true, right? Well, yeah,
but you did get spankied.
I sure did. Well, I came back with about 3 different 7/16 bent wrenches, and you know what I use them for? Those are for header bolts on a small block Chevy.
Yeah.
And I have 3 of them because they're bent at different angles.
Yes.
To get at different bolts, and some of them, even the open end, is maybe ground down a bit for clearance.
Yeah.
And when I showed the guys at the shop, they were like, "Wow, where'd you get those?" Like, my toolbox at home. Like, had these for years. I mean, a small block with headers. You had to have one of these.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's face it. As it depended on the kind of car. It depended on what kind of headers you had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your stuff that works might not be the same as your buddies who might have had a different
Blackjacks and hookers are different. Have a different
exactly
wrench, right?
Or Doug's or
Doug. Yeah. That's right.
Oh my God.
Hedman.
We just dated. They're gonna have to freaking carbon date us now.
We date ourselves all the time. We're not really shy about doing it. But you know what? I've
it's
learned,
where I'm from.
I've kind of learned to take it as it's a compliment when people say that, because I say, I kind of grew up in one of the best times in life to be involved with cars. I mean, even 10 years or 15 years prior to us, that was pretty cool. Even 20 years prior to us, the guys they're building the 50s hot rods in the day, they were building actually Model A's in the 50s. That was a cool time. But it was all good. It was the heyday, and it was, like you said, you had to be innovative, or you had to know guys. And like here, I'll go down another road. When you've talked about this as well as I. You're doing something at your home in the driveway. Boom! Somebody, Johnny pulls up, say, and he's in his Nova, and he's clacking away like, "Hey, wait, I got to adjust the valve." So you're going to do like a valve adjustment on his car next. And then there's always like out of nowhere, there's like 5 guys show up.
Yeah.
With like leather jackets, some wearing denim jackets. Somebody's always got a 6-pack, and someone's maybe, no
6-pack.
Well, to start, that was to walk to the house. They had the 6-pack, and he lived next door.
Yeah.
To get the pizza, it always included. Everybody had to go in their pockets and chip in, and usually the guy working on the car got a pass on that because he was the guy.
Right.
I got to eat for free a lot.
Well, Friday night at the D'Antuono house back in the day was solid lifter night, where a couple of my friends who did not understand the concept of valve adjustments, would come over and we'd set up before we went out on the boulevard.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or, yeah, whether it was valve adjustments or carburetor setting or checking the time or whatever. I was over there. I was always the last one to get out because after I did all this, I had to go inside and take a shower, and they were already hitting the street.
Sure. I told this to Mike last week at the shop. We were talking about the Motion Monte Carlo when we had a couple of mishaps with the leaky oil and stuff, and and I told Mike Jr. I said, this is why. I said, back in the day, you do all this work, and to be late already, you had to pick up the girlfriend, you had to be somewhere, so you go in the house, put all the tools away, or you just shove them in a pile for tomorrow, go in the house, clean up. Mm-hmm. Your mother be like, hey, eat lasagna, eat it. No, Mama, I'll eat later. Mom, no, eat something. No, I'll eat later.
You got to eat.
Right.
You can't go out of without
eating. Give me. So you grab something. It's like,
and then you can't get the food out of your eyes because you just slapped it in there, bare-fisted, You
get cleaned up, then you go out, and then you fire the car up, and then you find out, like, oh, something is wrong. Like, there's an oil leak.
There's a puff of smoke.
Something happened.
There's an armor's bang or clank.
Because you didn't do the danger drive before you cleaned up. I said, that's why you always do this before,
I'm a big fan of test driving cars before I give them back to customers because you never know, sometimes you leave a tool under there. You get out of the car and you find that there's that glow. Yeah. Especially now with the new magnetic shop lights.
Right.
You get that glow. It's like, oh, there's my light. You know. Or you hear bangy, bangy, bangy because like something you had some vice grip hanging off a cable or something.
Yeah. Well, you find out like you left the drop light under the car, it rips out of the outlet on the side of the house, and like bang, you trailing a thing.
I was in a shop once where they had it hooked up to the bear machine. It backed it out of the freaking.
Oh no.
Wow. That was the bear machine. Man, it had really good 60-foot times.
Right. Doing those danger drives. That's how I learned an intricacy about Holley carburetors.
Yeah.
I had a Holley 650 spread bore on my car forever, and I would weekly, every twice a year when the seasons change, I would change the thermostat in the car, put a 160 in for the summer, 180 in for the winter.
Sure.
And I would, change the plugs and adjust the carburetor and the timing and all of that, just as a matter of course.
Yeah.
And normally what I would do is, you're doing that. Air cleaner's off. You drive the car, it runs like a raped ape. It's great. You come back, you put it all back together, you clean up, you go in the house, you come out and you drive the car, and you're like, wait a minute. It's like, it's holding back. What's the matter? It's like, it ain't running right. You had to adjust those carburetors with the air cleaner on. I did it with the air cleaner off, and it was more airflow.
Right.
So that's how I learned a little intricacy about those Hollies. So
yeah, there you go. And that's why I have one of those little bendy flexi friggin' adjustment screwdrivers there. Then I got the one from Snap-on with the little arrow so you could tell how many turns you did.
That one I actually showed because I still use that.
Yeah, with the little quarter-inch drive,
It's quarter-inch drive, and it comes with two straight slot adjusters and one an Allen driver to do points.
Yeah, no, it comes with all, I
actually showed it to the Snap-on guy. He was like, wow. He goes, you got some relics. I'm like, you know what? It's still in the box. I said, it just sits in the toolbox like that.
Yeah.
I said, is this still available? Because I want one for the shop.
Sure.
It's not.
No, I'll bet you it ain't.
Unobtainium.
Yeah.
You got to find one that's going to be used.
Those days are pretty much gone with that stuff,
So I'm going to start following. There's a guy on... I think he's on. I think Mike told me he's on Facebook. Mm-hmm. But I think he has an Instagram feed. It's like Snap-on Collector. He puts up collectible stuff. So we'll play.
Oh, as long as he doesn't have an underscore, I have a shot at finding him.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's face it. There are some times now that the amount of tools. I mean. If you think about it, remember you used to get the Snap-on or the Matco catalog?
Yes.
And it was nice. It was maybe like half the thickness of like your basic Sears catalog or whatever.
Yeah.
And you would sit there and you would read it, whatever place you were comfortable sitting down for a length of time, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think about the amount of tools that are out now.
Yeah.
Between specialty tools, specialty sockets, diagnostic tools, and whatever. Now you know why everything's online, because there's a hard drive the size of Kansas out there with all this stuff, because you couldn't fit it in a book.
That's right.
I mean, that's one reason my company, they don't print catalogs no more.
Yeah,
because you can't. There's like 60,000 part numbers, so you can't do it.
Actually, hey, Matco man, our buddy Brian from Delaware, he sent me a Matco catalog. So I asked him. I said, you got one? I think it was the one he had on the truck.
No kidding.
Because it was a little dog-eared. I think I'm like, cool.
It.
I just love having a catalog.
There are times that I'm a book person. You and I both have book type backgrounds. In the parts business and whatever.
Yeah. I thought about that this morning. Why do I like to go to a manual? And just like even with my own car, now I want to go back and I want to look at things. I want to look at diagrams. I want to look at procedures. I think what it is besides the engineering and the data part of it, it gives you time to think as you're flipping the page and looking, and then as you're making notes, you're thinking. You're not just. So I think that's part of the process for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, well, the big advantage is you're able to flip through it, and you can kind of like, oh, wait a minute, I think I saw that a few pages back, and you flip backwards or whatever. And then, I don't know about you, but there was always stuff sticking out of my manuals, like, Post-it notes, screwdrivers, pens, whatever, different things that you want.
And there's that connecting rod for Joey's car. Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Should have wiped it off.
Yeah, seriously, because at that point it smelled really good. Can't bring it.